Hey guys, it's Ed with CMC Reptiles. Wanted to do another rat video, give you a little update on my breeding. Last few weeks, the breeding has gotten really good, pretty much exploded, because before that, oh man, my production was way down to the point where these top three rows were completely empty. I mean, I was almost producing nothing, and it's basically because of the temperature. We had a really wet winter here in California, cold temperatures, high humidity, and it just kind of stopped the breeding for me. Worst year I probably had for breeding rats. But as soon as that temperature got consistent, where it was in the 90s to 100, it just exploded. And I put the air conditioner up probably in May, early May. Took the heater down, and it keeps the room in the mid to high 80s. And I think that's the perfect temperature for breeding the rats. I think that just kind of kicks in where these guys just start breeding, and it's done, you know, this rack has done wonders for me. I'm so glad I did buy it. And these are all new moms. So I probably got 15, 20, 30 pregnant or nursing mothers right now for this week. And I have another 35 or 40 females breeding also this week. And it looks like the males are doing what they need to do, because it seems like all the breeding tubs now, the last 2 weeks, all the females were pregnant. And so again, we're going to be in the mid to high 90s all next week. So again, it's that consistent temperature. And I have this rack outside. That's actually in a shed outside my house, and I put a little insulation in here, as I showed in other videos. The air conditioner, air purifier. Wintertime, I run a heater in here just to try to keep the temperature as consistent as possible. But sometimes, you know, this room being outside, it still gets, you know, in the wintertime it gets cold, and the humidity gets really high in here, and it kind of slows down production. But right now it's doing really well. So, you know, normally I'm producing about 200 rats every week, and it looks like I'm getting back to that number, especially with new babies coming. I mean, I just hatched out 27 new babies, more eggs in the incubator, more eggs coming, so I definitely need this production to get up. So it's always definitely worth breeding rats. I mean, if you're ever thinking of breeding rats, and I know people talk about, oh God, it's a lot of work, it's a big chore, they stink, and, you know, don't do it. But believe me, I never thought I'd be breeding rats. I mean, since I've been doing it for almost 3 years now, breeding these, I dedicate 1 day a week of cleaning the whole collection. And that 1 day is about 6 hours. And in that same day, I euthanize the rats that I want to freeze, and I also feed my snakes. The live rats, the snakes that actually eat live, I feed. So I'm kind of killing 3 birds with 1 stone in that 1 day while I'm cleaning. So I mean, it's well worth the time and the work you have to put in breeding these guys. I mean, it's worth it. It doesn't make sense to me to spend $900 to $800 a month on buying frozen thawed or buying live, which I used to do, and never having the right size rat that I needed to feed my snakes. I'm constantly feeding between 30 and 75 ball python babies weekly, and then another 50 to 60 adult ball pythons weekly. You know, 5 or 6 large boas weekly, retics, milk snakes, hognose babies. So I have to have, and Kenyan sand boas, I need to have, this to produce, the rats I need to feed all my animals, whether it be rat pinkies, rat fuzzies, pups, medium smalls. But I can do whatever I want with what I have here, the Freedom Breeder rodent rack that Jesse from Freedom Breeders built for me. All I did was tell him what I needed, what I was looking for, and he built exactly what I needed. And it's working out great. And this rack paid for itself within 1 year of getting it. Probably within 6-7 months, it paid for itself. It makes everything so easy. The hoppers are all in the back. It's got the gravity-driven water system. Each tub has its own water source. I use spring water in that because here in where I live, we have hard water. And if I use the faucet water, these lines would all be clogged within a month. So I always use spring water in these tubs, and it works out really well for me. And I always got plenty of new. The other thing I do is I always prep new these are kind of holdbacks. All females and a couple of males. So it's you kind of have to have a kind of a system of bringing new rats up, picking the ones you want to euthanize, the rats that you want to save for breeding, and the males that are getting a little bit old you have to euthanize, because I need about 5 jumbos every week to feed 5 big snakes that I have. So it's kind of a planning thing, definitely. And another way I do to make room, if I have, especially these newer females, let me see, some of these new females, this is probably not one, but some of them will have really small litters, like 6 or 7. And if I get 2 or 3 rats that have small litters, I'll take those litters and I'll put them with one female. Because these females can take care of up to 20 pups. And they actually will put them in 2 piles. I've seen some of these females put like 7 or 8 over there and then another 7 or 8 on this side, and take turns feeding them, nursing them, so they all get enough nutrition. So it's kind of cool how they make really good moms. They take care of the babies. And what I do with the females that I take their babies from, I just put them back in with the males, right away. So it works out real good, and it keeps the production going. I'm making room for new upcoming moms, and again, it helps. It saves time. It saves space for more upcoming rats, rather than to have one mom just taking care of a litter of 4 or 5 or 7 rats. I try to kind of merge them all together because they have no problem taking care of another rat's pups or litter, so it works out really well. But yeah, if you're thinking of breeding rats, I say go for it. It's not as much work as a lot of people say, especially if they have the right system like this. They named this company's named Freedom Breeders for a reason, because it gives you the freedom to just set these guys up, and you could leave them alone for 3 or 4 days without even looking at them. You just got to make sure the water tub's full and the hoppers are full of food. Other than that, it's good to go. When I clean this rack every week, I check every water system to make sure water's coming out of it, the water's flowing free, that it's not leaking or dripping. So during that one day I dedicate to these rats, I check all that stuff. And the rest of the week, it's free time. I'll have to come in here once to fill the bucket and fill the food hopper, and that's it. It's good. So if you're thinking of buying one of these racks, call Jesse at Freedom Readers. He'll take care of you because it's worth every penny. Alright guys, just wanted to give you that update, and I will talk to you later.